to the entertaining Talkin' Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video as free agency is fast approaching and more names will start to pop out as players that the New York Giants could potentially be interested in. Well, today it came out off the mouth of Ralph Acciano, and we'll pull up some of the quotes, that the New York Giants are potentially interested in bringing in James Bradberry. James Bradberry stands at 6'1". I think he's 212 pounds out of Carolina, a former late second-round pick by, you guessed it, Dave Gettleman. Now, I'm not surprised that the New York Giants are at least interested in Bradberry. I've said this whole time, one of the positions I expect them to attack in free agency is a cornerback. You look at that secondary, all the corners are entering their second year. They could use someone to take the pressure off DeAndre Baker now that they lost Janoris Jenkins. And Bradberry would make sense. The problem is he's due to make a lot of money. Now, some of the teams, the Giants may be included, may be looking at the market and say, yes, $15 million for a cornerback's a lot, but next year when the salary cap goes up, we'll have an extra $40 million, and players like James Bradberry will be going for $17 or $18 million with the 20% increase in cap. So that's the way the New York Giants, the Jets, the Redskins, several other teams I've read that may be interested in Bradberry, that's the way they may be looking at it, and the Giants need a cornerback. Of course, the connection to Gettleman is probably why the New York Giants may have, a strong interest in him. Gettleman was criticized greatly in Carolina when he let go of Josh Norman. Josh Norman, of course, then signed on with the Washington Redskins. Turned out to be one of the worst contracts in football, but many believe they should have at least franchise tagged Josh Norman. Instead, he decided to draft Bradberry, which he then was criticized for that. Bradberry went to a small school, was a late second-round pick, and since then he's been a good corner. I wouldn't say a great corner, but he certainly outperformed that draft position. Like I said, a lot of people had him mock going much later than the second round, but Gettleman hit on that draft pick, which is why he's the second best corner in this year's market. Now, when you look at the corner market, there's several other names that the New York Giants could attack. Some of them older, like Chris Harris Jr., but they wouldn't cost as much, but he's more of a slot guy. And a number of other guys, Trey Waynes, other guys I've gone over. Bradberry will be 27 entering next season, and if you pay $15 million a year for him, you're getting a good corner, not a great one. When they paid Jenkins, he was a great corner. Was one of the best corners in the sport for that first year, and then he kind of regressed. Bradberry, in my opinion, has never been at the level of a Janoris Jenkins. The only thing that would justify signing someone like this is because the market's going to go up, but I'd rather go for a cheaper option. I definitely think they need to attack a corner in some capacity, though. But let's pull up some of the quotes about James Bradberry, the cornerback out of Carolina. This was from Giants Wire regarding the Giants and the Jets in relation to Bradberry. The 27-year-old Byron Jones could be looking for a deal worth $17 million. I've read as high as $18 per season, according to some sources. Well, the 26-year-old Bradberry, who, like I said, will be 27 in August, is likely to get at least $15 million per year. One source said the feeling is the Jets are more willing to meet those prices than the Giants. The Jets, of course, have almost as much cap space as the Giants do. Like the Giants, they could use some help in that secondary, along with several other teams that will be trying to bring in some of these free agents. Next thing, however, Jones isn't the only veteran cornerback the Giants will be sniffing around when the new league year begins next week, as Ralph Acciano of SNY reports that the team also has its eyes on James Bradberry. And I'm not really surprised by this news. I'm not shocked they have their eyes on him, but I would be surprised if the Giants meet that $15 million price tag. And I think he's going to get it, by the way. I really do. This I wanted to pull up for you guys here. These are some more advanced stats that I was able to pull up off the internet. He's had double-digit pass breakups each of his first 4 years in the NFL, which is pretty impressive. Last year, he ranked 8th in pass breakups, and he only surrendered 1 touchdown. And he had 3 interceptions, which was a career high. So he had a pretty strong year. Some say he's not the best tackler. I saw that on Fireside Giants. I don't have I don't have the ability to pull up the advanced stats with PFF, so I'm assuming that's where they get their information from. But he's always been one of the highest corners in terms of tackles, and he's been relatively durable throughout his career. So if you bring in Bradberry, I think you're getting a good player, but you're paying him as if he's a great player. Unfortunately, that's usually the way it works in free agency. If the Giants were to sign Bradberry or any corner, around the $10 to $15 million range, I would assume, obviously, you're not drafting Jeffrey Okudah, and you're either going with an offensive lineman or Isaiah Simmons. I'm not surprised at all that the Giants are thinking about spending at the cornerback position in free agency, like I've said many times. it's a pressing need with all the youngsters you got back there, and they probably don't want to waste some of their draft capital at that position. They definitely could use a veteran presence there. So we'll see what happens on free agency. But as of now, from what we're hearing, the New York Giants will at least have interest in the two biggest names in the corner market, being Byron Jones and James Bradberry. We'll see if they end up with one. Seems like they'll be in a bidding war with both the Eagles and the Jets, potentially, for these two individuals. As always, guys, if you liked what you watch, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.